It's Monday, September 16th, and as usual, going to take a look at the S&P 500 through the AS chart. I'm going to take a look at where we landed closing out the week and what I'm looking out for. Are we going to continue this move up? If so, or what could hold us down, and where are some levels of interest? So starting off with the clean chart, and as we saw and I called out last week, we did hit this monthly and regained the monthly above for now. We still got 14 days in the month. See if this gains and holds up here. That will give us another monthly close, will give us another data point to look at, but too early to tell right now. From the weekly, so we established that this monthly trailing that, we trailed that, we came up, came down, held this monthly, again, regained it, came back down, tested that, gained that, and tested it as well. I'd say the goal right now for what this is trying to do is trying to regain this weekly candle up top over here. This is the weekly to gain. Yeah, last week we could not get that done. We've got some more time still to try and do that. So I'm just going to mark this on weekly to gain. And then we also have this potential weekly right here holding us, that can hold us down. So I'm going to take a look at what levels we have in here that can continue this move up, and what's left in what levels are left over up here that can hold us down. Moving into the daily now, something that I did notice of importance. So if we are trailing this, if you remember, we had a daily back here hold us, which was also the 4-hour backside. It kind of all aligns well right here. All right, so we came up following the trail from the bottom down here. This daily this daily was created on the move up, and we broke that down. The next part of this would have been right here. Again, came down, failed to break that, created the next part of this, which was right here, which meaning that, and then we also had this part, which was the breakdown, this list level, but this came first. Last week we did hold that. This could be an early sign here that we're starting now we're basically coming back to test this area of the range. The next part would be us to, if this were to continue to hold and we were laddering down, the next part for us would be to come down, come up, and go into this daily and test that. So for now, this is not so important. I think this is more the important level. So I'm moving from here now into the 4-hour. So ideally, if we are, again, if we are, not ideally, but if we are laddering down, looking at what levels are next to hit. We have this on the top, we have this daily hold. So it's very possible we could come back up here into the weekly and continue to hold this over time. But let's go into the 4, see what's left. So trailing again from the top, this right here hits. First point of hit right here, which was R4. Still behind this daily that I marked though, but for just the sake of trailing it, I'm going to continue doing. Usually I want to just go from here and move forward. But you can see this was created. We lost that, failed to hard close it, still came above it, held it to right here, right? And this became what held us down in the future until we broke this part. So this created this 4-hour right here. And then we also had this 4-hour backside right here that was created as well. And we did get a reaction from this, which did push us back and held us under the daily again. After that, we do have this 4-hour. So I'm going to be looking into from this 4-hour forward. I think this is a good 4-hour of interest as well. If we hit the backside, perhaps the front side, which would be somewhere in this candle, could be next. So I'm going to kind of dissect this right here, and let's cut it off for now. Right away, I do see this 1 hour, which is following this 4 right here, and I do like this hourly, just in the way that it hits a front side and a back side. And I suspect if we are going to continue to move up, this is next to be tested. Following that, to this side of the chart, because we're front side, back side, then there's a 15 right here as well. And that also is pretty well, which was basically this was holding things up in the last moments. And then we also have in the 5, what else we got in the 5? So there's also following this 15.5 right here, but that gained to right there, 5, which gives us this 5 on the back and this 5 on the front. So we can say this is more of a greedy part of this. So if the 4-hour backside is continuing to hold, we could go possibly up all the way to the 5, which is actually getting close to the weekly level. And I suspect that could be a good point right here for shorts to jump in. We have these 3 levels, right? The hourly, 15-minute, 5-minute, and then the weekly comes in. After that, we start to get into the front side, which is also having this 4-hour. We'll go back to the 4 that I marked. This 4-hour lining up with more of the, could be the future base. And if we were to ladder from here, and this being a 4-hour, we'd need to ladder from a 1-hour. Let's say that next 1 hour is actually right here. So if we are laddering, considering this was a daily, this could be the 4, the 1, moving forward time. And then these are these greedier parts of that. So I'm looking to see what could hit here and potentially start that reaction down. We also, what else is there that I'm missing here? That if I'm looking at also really the greedier parts here from this weekly and above, this is the weekly to gain, and this is the weekly hold. The weekly hold in these levels would be what's protecting the weekly to gain. Even if, let's say, perhaps we were trying to get up to the weekly, what is above that weekly that could hold, that could also be an untested level. So I'm in my trading view to reload. Okay, going to the daily from the weekly. So here is the weekly hold, the weekly to gain. There is nothing here on the daily. On the 4, this is, I'd say, the greediest 4 right here. And the 1 hour is above that. So that's right here. I can see that 1 hour held it, lost it, came down, tested it again, bringing us to right here. And within this 1 hour, we have a 15. There is a 15 up top right here. And let me mark that correctly. And then is there a 5 inside the 15? So this 15 also aligns well with the 5 backside. We went in, so here's a 5 greedy, comes down, that looks like it does get tested right there. Brings us down to about right here. But actually before that, let's just make sure we didn't miss anything on low levels. 5, is there a 3? Just gonna cut this off. I have to keep going back and forth. 5, and there is a 3 up here. And is there a 1? There is a 1 right there as well. That we could say, I could say that that 1 wick was also tested along with that 3. So let's stick with trailing down from the 3. So if the 3 hits right here, goes down, creates this 3 right here with a backside over here, and you could see this 3 right here started to try and protect that along. So actually these being that we now have like the 15 and the 5 above it and the 3 below, I'd say still this is not, I'd be looking at more of these instead, because they're a higher time frame and they're at a higher greedier price. We could just leave the 3, just leave the 3 for the sake of if we do come up here to see what gets hit, and if there's anything higher here that could go after, or see if this holds basically holding below this, continuing ladder down, or can we get above here. So if we do get up here and we come back down, it would be important basically to hold the weekly to gain, at least. We have to reevaluate depending on what gets hit and see what holds here throughout the week. So that's at the top side of the chart. I'm going to go back to higher time frame. So reset the chart. Okay, so here's that 4-hour backside. Ideally, there's a couple things I think here that make sense logically in the logic flow, which is, all right, we did hit this daily backside, which is also a 4. we would also be looking to create the next, I'd say the next, some sort of a next base here to hold and ladder off of this. So if the move is going to continue, there's going to be hitting some level that does hold over time to break the trend, whatever trend is established here. I'll look at the bottom of the chart. So daily's holding. This 4-hour backside seems to be what's caused the reaction here. It's created a 4-hour, and we'd have to really gain that. And I'm looking at basically what could come up here. We'd have maybe some hits. See the reaction. Does this 4-hour continue to hold over time? Hit those, come back down, and so on and so forth. Kind of like what we were seeing up here, right? So we'd hit it, go above it, try to regain it. Chart was not able to do that over time, and until we basically lost trend and lost all our levels here and moved down. So for now, okay, so that's our levels up top. On the bottom side, I'm gonna go back to the monthly. Right, we hit the monthly. We're trying to regain this weekly, and that would basically, in essence, become another support level. But since we haven't done that, we have, and either also on the daily. So going on a daily, there is a daily break right here. I think hitting this, I'm gonna mark this daily break. Hitting this will signify that now we will probably get the level, any support, any levels that we come down back here to test will likely start to be bought here more aggressively, especially the daily. So our next, let's say that we have a couple dailies in here, but this being this more the front side. So I'm going to mark that, and we'd be daily laddering from here, or possibly even from the body. So let's go into the 4 actually, and I'm going to mark the body as well right here before I continue. So the body is also this backside 4, and very, very much untested. We did have this move up, came down, and we did hit what looks to be something back here. Yeah, we did hit a backside 4 as well. Back here, that hit basically perfectly. So we can mark that the 4. So if we hit the backside 4, laddered on the 4 as well, just hit this backside. So we are laddering backsides, moving us to here, which would be next to be tested if we were to have some level of rejection down here, which brings me to the hourly. So on the hourly, this hourly was created here, and we did close it, came back down to test it, creating this next part of the hourly. And looks like we do have a trend established from here to here. So from this one and this hard close comes back and tests, bringing us to this, which very much was tested right there as well, which brings us up to this point of the hourly. So there'd have to be something, looking for something inside here that's untested that could hold this. By the looks of these candles, it doesn't really look like there's much. We get the hourly. Here's a 15. This 15 could have a reaction here. Right, we tested into it, but we didn't really test this one exact yet. There's 15 and there are 5. The 5 right here. Yeah, all this was all 5 here was tested. Even with it going down to the greedier parts. 5 here, into it tested. Even the wick backside right there, backside as well tested. Right, so is there anything lower? Even the 3s tested. There is a 1 down here that is off the 4. So I'm just gonna mark this 1 just for sake of knowing that we do have a 1-minute level here that sometimes these hold. So just because the only reason here too is because we're very close to what the 4 is. Right here we have our 1, 15, so a couple levels going back to the 1 hour. So here we have the 1 hour, and 15. These would be next. Do we have, see if I'm missing something else on the lower side. I think there is a 15-minute origin right here that comes, mark that as a 15, or perhaps even an hourly. So the hourly starts from back here. This is still touched. This one didn't get touched. And then we have, I think very likely that we add that something right here. So this hourly looks like what's really is holding it up. So this hourly is what held it and launched it. So ideally, 15 next. So 15, this was created off of this one. We need to go to here. So this being the back side, front side, and I still don't like that these got tested. So then you also have this 15 down here. This is the origin. So you got one test, two tests, hit, created, next one to be tested would be right here, which could bring us down to this hourly that I marked again to be hit one more time. And this 15 activated as an origin, and I basically act as an hourly. So I think on the bottom side, this is what I'd be looking for to hold and possibly create a base down here even. With the double hits down here, very likely this can be created as a base. Even so lower, we can even go down as far as here, maybe hit the hourly, test this, hit the hourly, move up. This still does look relatively tested quite a bit. It still hold though. So I'm gonna leave these marked. So I guess right now it's a bit cluttered in terms of levels, and really got to wait to see what opens up to see what gets hit here. What I'm personally going to probably be looking for here is where do we break this trend? And I think this trend is going to be telling us if this trend breaks, we'll have a move back down to test these levels. And whether these hold will tell us if we can continue up. If they don't hold, then we're very likely, I think, moving down here, possibly even the daily. Since this was hit, we could have some ladder off of here. But this next ladder would actually have to be this hourly base about right here. And then, yeah, about this hourly rate. Because you got a backside. So something in this range down here could hold us. It's not very obvious right now. On the backside, this inverse is what held the move down. And we have the backside back here. Those very clearly tested. And then backside, the front side of this hourly. See if there's anything else in here. Seeing the 15 right there. That's moves over to this point, which really is the 15 that got hit. 15, what really kind of started this up. Leaving this with, again, the 15s on the bottom down here. And actually this looks like this could create a base right here as well. It's the way the candle's showing up here. I'm going to leave this as untested. We could have a move as far as go down back there. Did I miss anything else? Yeah, I think this is about it for what to look out for right now. Outside of that, yeah, then we have the 4 as well. This 4 is just, we'll come back down, test it as well. So that's at this end of this 15, the marked here was also this 4 backside. So if this 4 backside moves up to right here, basically can continue to hold it over time. So let's say if we come back up here, we have this 4, we can dive into it, come back above it, and hold this 4. And also creating our next trend can be created off of this some area. So this is what I think a good part to look for along in here within this 4 hour. After, if this 1 hour were to break, which I suspect if we're breaking trend, what can break trend is the backside. So the backside 4 is already showing effort right here. I think the backside 1 could do it to break this trend down. It was down here, and then we can take a look at some here would be good for longs, and perhaps if we're looking at this one can break trend, and this starts breaking down. We start losing these levels, then I think that could do it for here. So it's a bit tricky right now. Whether the question is are we laddering from this top up here, or are we laddering from the top and making continuation down, following also the trend at the top? I'm marking this on the 4, just being that we have 4 hour, actually probably even at a lower time frame. I think it's a 1 hour. I'm going to be, the time frame for this trend is not exact. It's because of the way the candles are lining up, but what I am possibly using is just top to top, and this is not really time frame specific. See if what other candles I have that could align with that. So they have the 4-hour right there, the 1 hour, 15. It could be the 15. So yeah, 15 here and the 15 up. This creating a nice long-term range trend, which we are approaching. And that being said, this could just get as close as it wants to the trend before possibly this breaks. So this can just be, for now, just a area marker of where trend is, or trend exists. Yeah, so I'm going to be looking at basically these backsides, which is the hourly backside, 15-minute backsides. There's a 5-minute up here until we get to the weekly hold. And at the weekly hold, there is this 4-hour backside or base right here. I'd say if we get above this 4-hour and hard close that, that's a good sign that we're probably moving up. At any point, we could just come in here, test, and just reject down. But ideally, this is the 4-hour that needs to hold. That would be continuation. If we are continuing down, a continuation off the top 4-hour right here, and then right here as well. I think this can also be seen on the daily. I'm also seeing something here on the daily, which is basically we had this as a ladder as the next point. This could be our next point as well. I think given that also the next condition would be hard closing this 4-hour, this daily right here. We get up here, hard close that. I think that's also in a larger time frame telling us we could have continuation up again to really just come back up here and test these upper levels. But by that time, I suspect that all this would be now support and we could have new all-time highs. So I think we have some data this week as well with the Fed and everything, and that could shift momentum very quickly. So we'll see how that works out. And for this week, this is what I'm looking out for. A little bit of a tricky spot, but could be some opportunity, and everything's got to be seen more so in the moment to really evaluate where to get a sense of direction. See how this week goes, and I'll try to post some updates as I see are appropriate.